People tend to think that it's okay to be violated because there are some who think it's love.
Anything that comes into my space without me inviting it is abuse.
If you're in a situation where there's conflict or misunderstanding or whatever it is, and you do not have the right skills to problem solve, then one would say the easiest way of problem solving would be using some form of violence.
Most of the time, people don't really know the views that Botswana have that affect gender-based violence, cultural and social conflicts, economic violence. Who are the most vulnerable?
We come from a very patriarchal society where men dominate women.
Gender-based violence does not only happen to women. Ignorance gives rise to gender-based violence.
Most of the time, people don't really know the law. Who are the most vulnerable groups?
For me, the phrase gender-based violence has different meanings. You're talking about you're talking about the unequal use of my power over somebody. That is what gender-based violence means to me.
If I'm not comfortable with whatever action you are doing to me, then it becomes gender-based violence.
If you touch somebody and they tell you no, and you still continue touching them, that is violence on their body, because you are violating. Because when you look at the word violence, it comes about violating. It means I did not give you permission. So when you do something over another person, when you use your power over another person, it doesn't matter. It could be sexual, it could be physical, it could be economical, it could be psychological. That is what it would entail.
When we talk about gender-based violence, a lot of times we are emphasizing the physical aspect of it. And when you consider it, its ripeness is such that, if you are physically abused, it will have an impact on your health in terms of psychological, emotionally, and socially. Socially meaning that it impacts on your life affairs. You cannot function at optimum.
Well, I think one of the things that really gives rise, especially in Botswana, the first thing is silence. But when you also look at other factors, you're actually looking at issues of poverty. Poverty does give rise to gender-based violence because we do not have a lot of services geared towards perpetrators, geared towards victims. That gives rise. Ignorance gives rise to gender-based violence. The root cause of gender-based violence is the unequal power relations.
It's a big story of patriarchy. Again, it comes to what are belief systems in terms of the relationship between men and women, the inequalities, because men are taken within societies to be leaders, starting again from the family. So they hold the power. And then forms of discipline that were found are acceptable is discipline through physical punishment.
Culture plays a very big role in issues pertaining to GBV. I was just, talking to somebody the other time, and I'm thinking, we were saying how when you get married, there's this process of the man paying bridal price. And we all know that when a price is put on something and you adhere to that price, that thing is yours, which means you've got absolute and total dominion over it. So I think things like that contribute to gender-based violence.
There's so many consequences of gender-based violence. Because when you're looking at consequences, you're saying, what is the end result? Mental health issues are some of the end results of gender-based violence.
Because your husband is continuously abusing you, you end up abusing the children. If there are no children in the house, you end up abusing the dog.
Some of the perpetrators that I've worked with, some of the perpetrators that are in our prisons, they have been survivors of gender-based violence. They grew up seeing that as okay. So for them, it's normality. It's a norm.
It brings a lot of pain and sadness to the family. It dismantles the family, even worse than illness.
But they are really not survivors in this sense. They are victims and prisoners of their minds.
The boy child should be socialized in such a way that he respects women, doesn't see them through those eyes of patriarchy, does not think that he holds the power just by virtue of his gender.
Because also the thing is, gender-based violence does not only happen to women.
No matter what gender you are, no matter how you are orientated, bottom line, you're a human being first.